Okay, this is it. It's the promised viewer giveaway video. You guys did it. Thank you very much. I was checking my analytics this morning, or I guess this afternoon, on Wednesday, March 5th, and I'll show you for yourselves just so you can see on or around. I think it says just before 1 p.m. local time, we got our 100 subscribers. So thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. And so in this video, we'll talk about the giveaway, how we're going to do that, and got a little story for you, just about my background that I can take care of at the same time. I want to also thank you all for your comments. There's been some real interesting conversations. I encourage that all. For the most part, I've really been enjoying it. A little bit is a little confusing. I think one person was a little put off. I guess they figured I'm dropping Andy Edwards' name too much in my videos. I don't seem to think so. I think I've mentioned his name 3 times in, I guess, 40 videos now. So I don't think that's a problem, but if somebody doesn't like it, I'll tell you what I can do for you. I'll do more of it. So throughout the month of March, I'll name drop Andy Edwards in every video that I start off with. By the way, I think he's started a new channel. It's more of a political channel. I saw a little notification in my Patreon, Andy Edwards Patreon, today, that he's started up a new thing just so he could focus on the music on the home channel and get into talking about some other matters in a different setting. So you can pick and choose. I forget the name of the channel, something like, I think I finally lost my mind on YouTube, or I don't know, you'll have to look it up. Anyways, I'll be checking out that content as well. Andy is an interesting guy, and I do enjoy his musical and his musical analysis and the things he has to say about other stuff too. So this one's for you, Andy. Oh yes, the giveaway. I left it downstairs. Give me like 10 seconds. Still there? Don't go away. I'm coming back. All right. Okay. Got it. Sorry. I guess I should have thought this out a little better. So let me catch my breath. That was a good time for a cookie break. If you're ever on the North American continent, I suggest you try these celebration cookies. They're butter cookies with milk chocolate. Actually, first, let's see here. Proudly Canadian company, Leclerc, that's good. St. Augustine, Quebec. Plants in Hawkesbury, Cornwall, Brockville, Tennessee, Montgomery, Pennsylvania, Phoenix, now with 25% more tariffs. We'll take a chance. Sure, it can't be that bad. Delicious. think that was only 17 Canadian dollars for this box. So yeah, Donald Trump has signaled the beginning of the North American Union with these tariff announcements that kicked in the first week of March here. Just a note on that. I mean, think back in the days if Bill Clinton or George Bush or Barry Obama was talking about making Canada the 51st state. I mean, the right wing, the Republicans, they'd be losing their minds over that. You know, the essential signaling of the beginning of the North American Union by Donald Trump. It really is a stroke of genius, I think. I'm not particularly in favor of it. There's upsides and downsides. I know that it's a big deal in the news right now. By the time you maybe view this, it may be years into the future. And all this is totally irrelevant, but yeah, just taken in context, it's amazed that people that would have been adamantly against this years ago are cheerleading the way now. Anyways, the giveaway, yes. So back in 2010, I decided to go back to university. I wanted to get a law degree, or no, not a law degree, a medical degree. I wanted to get into medicine. And one of the requirements to get into medicine is a standardized test they have here in North America called the MCAT test. I forget what MCAT even stands for, but if you're trying to get into medical school, well, on this side of the pond anyway, everybody's heard of the MCAT and you study for it. It's a grueling 4-hour test, very similar to your bar exam. So there's a variety of areas that you're tested in: chemistry, biology, organic chemistry, physics, and verbal reasoning. And so there's a preparatory kit and course that you could take to prepare for your MCAT. And so I bought the kit. I mean, this is the 7th edition. Let's see. I don't know when it was published, but yeah, it says copyright 2011. Published by Exam Crackers. I believe these books are still available, just in an updated version or revision. But anyways, I got a house full of stuff, and I'm going to give some stuff away. And so this little package here is, if you want to buy it new, is probably a couple $100. I haven't priced it out lately, but it was very expensive at the time. And I just thought, you know, it'd be a neat little giveaway. And so the idea here is leave a comment in this video. And you don't have to be subscribed, although I would appreciate your clicking that subscribe button. And to clarify too, I think I said in a previous video, you know, subscribe more than once. And by that I didn't mean click that button more than once, because that'll unsubscribe you. What I meant was start like a dozen or so sock accounts and then log in and subscribe me to every one of those accounts. And that'll really help my channel. And while you're at it, I mean, just put a like on this video. I mean, we're early enough in, I'm sure you like it already. If by the end of the video you unlike it, just go ahead and tap that button again. No hard feelings. You know, if you feel you didn't get your money's worth, I understand. But in any case, let's do a giveaway here. I'm prepared to pay $20 shipping and send it to you. It's probably going to be best if you're in North America. I have no idea what international shipping would be. Say if somebody in the UK or elsewhere wanted this, but the value of this is not just if you want to get into medicine. And this is what I wanted to talk about, just as a little nugget of wisdom for you, if I could. But in any case, I studied for this exam. Studied hard. It's meant to be a punishing exam. It's meant to challenge your knowledge, but also your ability to work under pressure and stress. It's a timed exam. So every section you're given an hour, and you write the chemistry section, you turn in that paper. If you're done early, which you won't be, if you're done early, you messed up. Like, you're going to need the whole time. And then you move on to the physics section, and then maybe the organic section, and then there's like a lunch break, and then you come back after an hour and write the last two sections. So it's very grueling, and it's meant to push you to the limits of how you perform under pressure. Because as a doctor, that's one of the things you're evaluated on. And so here I was enrolled at the University of Manitoba, and I was hoping to get into the medical faculty in town here. And I took the MCAT test, and I did okay. Like, that's one of the criteria that medical colleges use to screen applicants, is how well they did on the MCAT. It's not the entire process or criteria. And so at the University of Winnipeg, and this can vary depending on where you are, either around the world or in Canada or the US, but the MCAT, your score, you need a competitive score. You need a minimum GPA requirement in most places, and that's your grade point average. It needs to be at a certain level. And my issue that I ran into at the University of Manitoba is that I was coming to my studies to get into medicine later in life. And originally, my first stint in university, I was enrolled in an engineering program at the same university. And I flunked out. Like, I didn't take it seriously. Was just there to party, and it was a lot of fun, but it was also a waste of time. But all those C's, D's, and F's really caught up to me later on when I tried to get into medicine, because I think I was in the Faculty of Engineering for a year and a half, and all those bad grades, the way it turns out in Manitoba anyway, those grades stay with you forever. At least at the University of Manitoba Faculty of College of Medicine. So there was no way numerically that I would qualify in order to dilute my grade point average to get those bad marks off of my transcript in order to qualify for medicine. I talked to the dean of admissions there. They said, you know what? It's just, I agree, it's not fair. My hands are tied. There's a lot of people that would otherwise make great physicians and doctors that can't get in because of this very criteria. And we could change the rule, but I guess there's just not enough will to do it at this point. So I kind of left it where it was. I was applying to get into medicine as I was graduating from my undergraduate degree, which I think I said was in microbiology. So just basic sciences. I'm not doing anything with that degree. I don't plan to. But the requirements for the college are to have an undergraduate degree in any field. You could get a fine arts degree, study the MCAT, get the prerequisites for biochemistry and organic chemistry, and qualify for medicine and get in that way. Most people go through the science route, taking biology and chemistry, and that's what I did. I had never taken biology in my life prior to when I was in my 40s at university, and I did well. Like, I got good grades, but those grades were never going to get me into school in Manitoba. And so I had just gotten married a year after I graduated. I had met my wife in university, and she decided to do a post-secondary degree. Here we call it a master's degree. So you got your undergraduate, then a postgraduate would be a master's, and then the next level would be a PhD or doctorate. So she did her master's degree in Winnipeg. So my options were I could look at other colleges across Canada that have a different criteria to get into medicine, where my GPA wouldn't hinder me. Because a lot of colleges, if they have really stale grades that are 10 years or older, they just drop those grades off your transcript. So it's like it never happened. Well, at the University of Manitoba, they're like an elephant. They never forget. So my options were, do I let my wife stay in our hometown and carry on with her degree while I try to pursue a medicine, start applying across the country, whether it be Calgary or Thunder Bay or somewhere in Ontario, somewhere else. And it just didn't make sense. So as pleased as I was with the experience in university, that's kind of where it came to an end. And so the idea of becoming a doctor kind of died on the table there, and no regrets. I'm okay with that. I like where I am right now. But in any case, I just wanted to walk through a little bit of some of the lessons I picked up in school and how this package here may help you or somebody you know. Maybe you know a student that's planning on getting in medicine. This material is still relevant. It's not like the fields of physics or biology have changed significantly since 2011. I know since 2012 they've proved that the Earth is in fact now flat. So some of this stuff is just heady academic ideas, but still the test material remains the same. And so every chapter comes with a section of material to understand, and then test questions. As well, you can get sample tests of the MCAT online. If you take a course, they do some practice testing in class, and the class was very interesting. It was run during the summertime, and it was like a whole month of classes, if I remember correct, and you're there every day for like 6 or 8 hours a day, learning subject after subject, just getting this stuff in your head and mentally preparing to take the test. And I think this is the key, because what I'm seeing just in the YouTube universe is people kind of biting off more than they can chew, or not counting the cost when it comes to some of the activities they're getting involved in. And I don't want to get into specifics, I'll just leave it in generalities right now, but I mean, the analogy I'd use is like if you wanted to become an exterminator, and you got all the equipment, like you were going to get rid of rats and bats and cats and wasps and bees and ants and cockroaches and all that stuff, and you were full of passion and fire in your belly to do this, but every time you went out, say to clear out a wasp's nest, like you didn't go in with foreknowledge and training of what it is you were intending to do, and the wasps get you every time. They're stinging you, they're biting you, they're doing what wasps do, and you're in a load of pain. And the wasps are there, you know what they're going to do, but you didn't take the preparation or the steps to mitigate what the effect would be if the worst case happens. And so I see a bunch of that happening in some of the various fields I'm delving into here in my personal viewing. But this gets back to kind of the test taking. I had a friend that was also interested in getting in the MCAT or into medicine, and we both took the test the same year. I think I took it twice. I took it in 2013 and 2014, if I remember correct. Could have been 2012 and 2013. The first time around, and I had taken the course, the first time around I got a competitive grade. And they score, I think it's out of 40 and or 45. But each section is worth 15 points. I'm probably getting it crazy wrong. But you need like a minimum score of, I think it was 20 27 or 28, just to be somewhat not even competitive, but they wouldn't even really look at your application for medicine if you didn't get it like a minimum of 28 on the MCAT. And I think that first year I got a 29, so I kind of squeaked by. My friend figured he was just going to go in kind of raw, and like, you know, he felt he was a smart guy, and he was just going to overpower the test and get it done. Well, he was very disappointed with his mark. It was like a 22 or 24 or something. So the following year he took the course and did a lot better. I forget what he got the second time around, but the second time around I did a lot better. I ended up with a 33 or 34, if I remember correct. So that's a pretty competitive score for MCAT. And when I had sat down with that admissions, what do you call him? The admissions dude at the college, he said, yeah, your MCAT's good. You know, you've got good grades, but you know, your transcript overall, unfortunately, is going to prevent us from offering you an interview, which is the next step. And so it all comes down to the algorithm. The algorithm cuts off, you know, those that don't qualify, and I was cut off because of the low GPA. But anyways, getting back to the test itself, it's understanding how to take this test specifically. And in life, you know, there's different tests that we all face. And we can prepare ourselves and understand the process and understand the goal, what we want to get out of it. And you need more than just passion and good intentions. Like that, at the end of the day, that's not going to be enough. You need the mental discipline. You need the mental toughness. You need the understanding of the material. You need maybe some guidance and help. You need to understand the process inside and out as well as the material. And the book I'm holding up here is one section. It's called Verbal Reasoning. And what these are tests which are basically given as a brief essay. Let's see if I can find one, the sample questions. You're given like a couple of paragraph long essay, and then there's a series of questions after the essay that you have to answer. And the wording of the essay, as well as the questions, as well as the answers to the questions, are the test. You're forced to read this paragraph, which is very, very dense information, like highly technical. Like they'll take something from say a microprocessor manufacturing facility on the specifications of their diodes and resistors and the minimum tolerances, and it's like it's brand new material that you've never seen before, but you have to take it in, understand what are the most important things to take away from the passage, and then look at the questions, understand the question, because the questions will have double negatives and a little word slipped in there that if you didn't notice the word, it changes the whole meaning of the question. Likewise, there's a series of answers, and they could change one word, whether it's A, B, C, or D, to try to trick you and get you to slip up and circle the wrong answer. And so you have to be laser sharp focused and have an incredibly fast processing speed to do well in this test. Now, my second time around on this part of the test, I think I got like 14 out of 15. Like it was near perfect. And I was really pleased with that. Like even as a consolation for not getting into medicine or even being offered an interview, the learning process was a reward. And as well, something I picked up in preparing for the MCAT, in the course, they gave us a guideline on how to study. Now, this is something I struggled with, especially from high school. I was I never studied through primary school and high school and junior high. I had just recall, and it wasn't photographic memory. I was able to take in the material and integrate it, and I had it. So whether it was in grammar and English or mathematics or like I didn't study. I did my homework in class. I never had homework at home. I was fast. I could complete the material, understand it, answer the questions. You know, I was the kid in class where the teacher would ask questions and have to say, and anybody but Brent to answer this, you know. That was me. And so in high school, I kind of floated through. Like my grades really started to tank in high school because I just didn't want to apply myself. So then when I got to university, all these kids that had to work hard through junior high and high school, they actually did better. They had an advantage because I didn't know how to study. I figured I was going to show up for a course in calculus or, doing these integral equation. Like I had never taken calculus and it was all brand new. And then what's more, in physics and chemistry, they employed the calculus. So if you didn't know the calculus from calculus, you were going to fail miserably in physics. So it was like just a chain reaction. And I didn't put in the effort at home when it came to studying for my university courses. So inevitably, I just crashed and burned. Now, the next time around, when I was more focused on the biological sciences, I had more discipline. But when I came to this MCAT approach, they said, here's the key. You've got the textbooks, you've got the sample questions, you've got all this, you've got the in-class training. You can ask questions in class. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to read through the chapter before you come to class. And by read through, we want you to read through it twice. The first time, just skim it through. And it's not terribly long chapters, at least not in the MCAT material, but this can apply to quite a few areas of study at the university level, even at high school and junior high. If you have students or someone you know who's struggling to learn or study, or you yourself, this is kind of a good formula. Is if you're attending a lecture or a class, read through the material, the chapter material ahead of time, quickly, like just to understand the gist of what's trying to be taught. Then the second time, go through slowly for understanding, like see what you can get out of it, and try to get a basic understanding before you even hear the material in class. And then you could, as well make little notes and write questions that you might have for the instructor or professor. And then go to class, allow the lecturer to tell you what they want to tell you. And then after the lecture, go home and read through that chapter again. And by the time you get through the third reading, you've seen it enough times, there's enough repetition that you're pretty close to mastering the material, and you just are fine-tuning the parts you don't understand. So just a little, pro tip for anybody out there who is in studies or knows somebody that's kind of struggling to study. That's a neat little method. Because, something I kind of came up with years and years ago, or maybe I heard this, I don't know if this is my original thought, but it's like from kindergarten to grade 12 or grade 13, depending on where you are in the world or in Canada, you basically are learning how to read. And then if you go on to post-secondary studies, in undergrad, at that point, you're reading to learn. And then once you've graduated, now you're in the real world. It's kind of up to you now to learn how to learn, to figure out, the hands-on, the practical, applying the theoretical to the things you think you know and how they really flesh out in the real world. And I guess in there as well, you can have a level, say at the PhD level, where, between reading to learn, you're also learning to teach at that point too. Because actually a lot of university teachers, they're doctorates, or the professors, they've got their research labs, they're training PhD students, they're on the faculty. Teaching actually isn't their their major focus. They're there to do their projects. They're to get their funding, their grants. That's their business. That's what's feeding their families. And so it's kind of a whole bit of a Ponzi scheme there, but that's another video for another day. But a lot of professors and university level teachers, they actually can't teach. They have a passion for the material. They're very knowledgeable in the material, but they didn't go through the faculty of education and learn the fundamentals of how to teach students. They just think, they're going to impart their knowledge somehow by osmosis to their students. And I mean, the classic example I think of back in the day at the University of Manitoba was my organic chemistry teacher, and he had a website with supplemental materials and all these teaching aids and learning aids and this and that, links to references of here's a study method and this, and then you'd come to class, and his presentations in organic chemistry were interesting, but they were very, very advanced. And he had been in the field for 20, 25, 30, 35 years. And so for a first year organic student, like a lot of us, we had never been exposed to organic chemistry before. And so it's like somewhere along the way he forgot we're not at the level where he's at. And so every year he's advancing, getting more comfortable with the material, and his method of teaching and testing is getting steadily more grueling. Because I specifically remember looking at sample tests from previous years for exams and midterms, and it's like, okay, this is doable. And then at the exam that I was to sit down at, we'd come out of there as students like in literal shock. It's like we were learning some alien language or something. It's like stuff we had never seen before. But to the instructor, he's like, what? Everybody knows this. Like his assumption was, if I know it, well, everybody has this deep an understanding. And it's like we didn't. Like we needed more of the fundamentals and the rudimentary stuff, not this quantum organic chemistry that he was teaching or testing anyway. Because the stuff on the test, it did not resemble anything that we had seen either in the lecture or in the textbook. And so I mean, comically, the passing grade in that class, I think it was 30%. If you got 30%, you got a great grade. And the Asian kids, they got like 90, 95. There's always a couple of A pluses, but the class average was somewhere around 42%. Anyways, that's war stories from the university days, but yeah, I hope this is making sense to you. I think this is a great resource, even if you, as an adult, have no intention of going to university, but want to sharpen your brain power. Put a few more folds in the gray matter between your ears. Get some wrinkles into your frontal cortex. Get your processing speed up. It's really interesting learning. Just the biology alone, like this stuff is not advanced level stuff. It's barely a little more advanced than high school science. The verbal reasoning might be something new to people. It's I think a great resource and something I want to gift to my subscribers. And like I say, we hit 100. I'm very pleased with that accomplishment. Yes. Thank you. It's an honor. I promise not to abuse the success that has been bestowed upon me. Thank you, very sincerely. All jokes aside, I didn't imagine this channel would even get to 100 subscribers, and it kind of happened very quickly. So we'll see what happens from here. But I do want to, like I say, provide this resource to somebody who's watching. And I think this is the way we'll do it. It's March 5th when I'm uploading this video. And so in 10 days, we have the Ides of March. As you know, in the old Roman calendar, March was the first month of the year. So Happy New Year to all of you. And the Ides of March was famously, well, it's the middle of the month, and that is also famously when Julius Caesar was murdered in the Senate by being stabbed to death. So I don't know what necessarily makes that relevant to this discussion, but in any case, I think this is how I'll do it on the Ides of March, on March 15th. I'll do a live stream just because I can do live streaming now. If you want to participate in that, I'll do a live drawing on the live stream, and then just so it's legit. I don't know how other way to do it so that kind of everybody knows, and we could have an interactive chat at the same time. So if you're wanting to tune into that, I'll give some advance notice, but that draw will be on March 15th during live stream. Hope you can make it. If nobody comes, that's okay. I got to test out some of this YouTubery, how to operate this stuff. It'll be the first live stream. So this is kind of just a test run anyway, but I can make it worthwhile by doing the draw. If there's any viewers checking in, we could have a little convo, and then I'll have a better grasp of how to run live streams going forward. So with that, I think it's almost time for another cookie. I see Andy Edwards has uploaded another video that I've yet to check out. I've got comments, YouTube comments to respond to. I love responding to the comments. I'm going to heat up my cup of coffee. And then think about some more content for you guys. We're done. You can go now.